At first blush, the federal transportation and logistics services market looks promising, but there's poison in a few of the submarkets. So here are the basics. The T&L market clocks in at about $17 billion a year, and of that, nearly $4 billion goes to small businesses. The 48 and 49 NAICS series cover all T&L spending, but we're only including services contracts in this analysis. We'll do the T&L products market soon. Next, we found that in fiscal 23, about 3,800 different companies won contracts, and that the average contract got 3.8 bids, which is well below the federal market average of 6. And that's important. We're going to talk about that more. All right, I want to answer these questions in less than 5 minutes, so I'm going to skip the I'm really smart and credible part and jump straight to these are the T&L submarkets. But rail, pipeline, and sightseeing have been crossed out because they're simply too small to be interesting. So if you have a railroad company, well, first of all, that's awesome. But the government isn't going to be a good customer. There are also a few non-4849 NAICS codes that are very popular among transportation and logistics companies. And while they aren't included in our analysis, you might want to add them to your SAM search and profile, especially this one. Next, here's the size of each market. And as you can see, there's tremendous variability, with only 40 mil spent on postal all the way up to 7 billion spent on T&L support services. And if that seems strange, remember, this is just money paid to contractors. So the postal services budget isn't in this number. Now, most of this money is going to big businesses, but there's still a lot of money for the smalls. And I know the scale of these charts is wonky, but we're trying to visualize some very small and some very large numbers, which is hard. So use the bars for relative size and the numbers for precision. Next, let's look at small business friendliness. So here's each small business market, average bids per contract, and the average number of awards per winner. And when it comes to competitiveness, we're looking for markets where there's an average of 4 to 6 bids and not too many awards per company. If there are only a couple of bids or there are lots of wins per company, it typically means that the market's controlled by monopolies, which makes it hard for new businesses to break in. So let's start by eliminating markets that are bad, whether you just want to sell to the government or you're commercially focused but want to pick up one-off government contracts. And the first bad market is warehousing. We've looked at the data and competition is just broken here. Remember at the beginning I mentioned stealth monopolies? Well, the warehousing market is dominated by them. Look at this. Only 2.5 bids per award and 71 awards per company? Total monopoly situation. And it's a similar story with postal and support activities. Very weak competition, which tells me that it's going to be tough to break in. Next, we have markets that are good supplements to your commercial business, but that aren't big enough to support a company on their own. And here we have trucking, courier, and passenger transit. These markets have healthy competition, so you have a reasonable shot at winning. But the money is fragmented across hundreds of mini-markets centered on military bases, national parks, VA hospitals, and a zillion other federal installations. So the contracts are going to be on the small end, but if you can do the work, you might as well go after them. And that leaves us with markets that can support an all-in government contracting company. And those are water and air transportation. They're big enough, and all signs point to healthy competition. So we've mentioned stealth monopolies a couple times, so let me explain that. About 2,000 companies won T&L contracts in fiscal 23, and that's a lot. So how can there be monopolies? Well, nationally there aren't. But if you're a new courier company in Virginia, well, you only care about the Virginia market. In fact, you probably only care about the market in your area. And what we found is that each base and each federal facility is basically its own mini-market, where the same companies win again and again. So within each mini-market, there are monopoly players who are going to be very tough to beat. But that's hidden because there are so many mini-markets out there. So yeah, that's the poison. All right, so despite the challenges, about 300 new businesses broke into the T&L market in 23. Here's how they did it. About 85% broke in through SAP contracts, which isn't too surprising since SAP contracts tend to be new vendor friendly. And a few others broke in through set-aside and sole source awards. But if you're new, think SAP. Next, we found that the USDA had the highest number of new companies working for them, with Interior and Defense about tied for second. Honestly, I didn't see this one coming. I thought VA for sure was going to be the best. And passenger transit was the big sub-market winner. So those are the facts. But every founder and every company is different, so don't start a USDA-focused passenger transportation company just because of this data. Consider this to be one factor in a much bigger analysis. And for more market reviews, check out our other videos here.